If you are in a verbally, especially verbally or even physically abusive relationship, or you meet someone and they start becoming verbally abusive, we know you are supposed to leave. That is the important recommendation. But we also understand that it's easier said than done. Many people are in these relationships because this has become a habit for this person due to you not creating boundaries because you are scared of losing this person, or now that they have established their behavior family in the relationship, you are scared of the consequences. But it's mostly because you are scared to leave. You are scared of abandonment. So here is what you can do. When this person speaks to you in the way that they do in abusive ways, you need to walk out. Some of the time, the problem is that you might want to engage and defend yourself, but you do not need to do that because you add fuel to fire. You are dealing with someone who's already pre-triggered. They've got their agenda and they have found you as the punching bag at which to lash out. So you taking yourself away from the situation is helpful in that it doesn't give them any punching bag to punch at. If you walk out in the initial stages of their rantings and their abusive behaviors, then sometimes you will notice that they would take a step back. And if you get time to talk to them, you could let them know, I do not feel safe when you speak to me like that. If there's any issues in the relationship, can we sit down and communicate? And if they continue their behavior, you can continue to walk out, or you go to spend time with someone or a friend so that you take yourself away from the situation. You could even spend time away with a friend over the weekend. The other thing you also need to do to demonstrate that you don't accept this behavior is to stop or oppose the relationship by stopping sleeping with this person. Because many a time we complain that someone is treating us badly, but we continue to sleep with this person, which is even a most important aspect of relationship, where you wouldn't or shouldn't allow someone to touch you when they are being abusive towards you and they are not respectful towards you. And the other part is, and if your partner puts their hand on you, the first time they put their hand on you, or the next time they put their hand on you, call the police. Because when you report this person, then they are going to face the consequence of their action. And you are also demonstrating that you matter. You're not someone who's just a punching bag for another person's trauma. This is difficult because you are caught between, I want a relationship, I want to be loved, and I also need to be safe. I need to be loved properly in a healthy way. And it is important that you start working on developing a self-care habit, to nurture yourself, to invest in yourself, to recognize your worth, to work on self-love, to gravitate towards people and circles who are healthy, people who appreciate you, people who see your worth, so that you begin to value yourself and not allow yourself to be at the receiving end of someone's trauma, of the receiving end of someone's dysfunctional behaviors or coping strategies. It is important that you put importance in your safety. And when you start doing that, when you start treating yourself with kindness, like a child you love, with compassion, then you will begin to notice that you don't belong in a place where you are treated badly, where there's verbal abuse. Because sometimes also you might think that verbal abuse is not a big deal, but it is, because it makes you shrink when someone constantly shouts at you, constantly speaks to you badly, belittles you, and demeans you, and treats you like you don't matter. You matter, and it is important that you take charge and responsibility for your life. And when you have kids also, it's important that you ask yourself, if I allow myself to be treated like this, what am I teaching my children? And what do my children think of this? Very essential that you start creating boundaries. But you start small. And as I said, it's difficult to just get out of such relationships. You start small by just walking out initially and then maybe spending time away. And if you've got children, sometimes go out with your children for walks and maybe take your children away for weekends. And eventually, you will begin to feel like you can stay away from this situation, from this home environment, from this unhealthy environment. And that will give you the courage one day to actually leave this relationship if this behavior persists, if this person continues. I hope you value yourself out there. And avoid, like I said, engaging with someone who's violent verbally or physically. And also avoid telling them what you are planning to do, or telling them something out of spite, out of anger, out of resentment. Learn to keep your peace, which is also why you need to learn to walk away from this situation. And if they have to drag you back, then that is when you need to call the police. And if you have the courage to walk out of this relationship, then one day you will have the courage to leave this relationship completely. But you need to start with the small steps of walking out of the situation, walking out of abusive conversation.